Thank you. Good afternoon. Unfortunately, I wasn't given enough time to brag and boast about myself, my love and compassion and kindness. But I just want to just briefly introduce myself and just lead you to my presentation. A good friend of mine once described me as a spicy human biryani. Um, I was born in Philly. Therefore, I usually describe myself as made in USA. From the age of 7, I was brought up in India in a traditional Tibetan Buddhist monastic system. I spent my childhood and adolescent years in India. So therefore, I describe myself as assembled in India. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, I became involved in projects that required redeveloping, restoring, and reintroducing Buddhism in a region where Buddhism once flourished before communism was introduced. So therefore, I describe myself as distributed and marketed in Russia. Now, a few years ago when the war started and there was many sanctions imposed in Russia, therefore, because of the sanctions, I was no longer needed in Russia. So I shifted to Mongolia, and I've been in Mongolia for the last 3 years, marketing and distributing. What is it that we are marketing and distributing? We're distributing compassion, kindness, care, loving heart, everything that the Center for Contemplative Science and Compassion-Based Ethics at Emory University has been working on. Our foundation was established back in 2006, but it doesn't mean that we were active. We were very sleepy, lazy, didn't do anything. We sat around for many years. We didn't have any money. We didn't have the team. We didn't have the people until 2019 when the Sea Learning Global Launch took place in India. I brought a team from Mongolia. At the time, we had a team from Russia, also a large team from Ukraine and many other countries. At that time, the team members from Mongolia said, we need this in Mongolia. How can we introduce and implement this in Mongolia? So therefore, that's when our foundation, which is a little bit difficult to pronounce, but Telo Hutugthu Foundation, became very active. This is one of the biggest and most important initiatives that we took was introducing, translating the Sea Learning textbooks, all of those that are over there, all of those books into Mongolian, working out the terminology because culturally it's a little bit different, and working very hard to implement the Sea Learning not only in a few schools, but on a nationwide. Out of all the Sea Learning, out of all the countries that Sea Learning is becoming popular, I say this with so much joy and happiness that Mongolia happens to be the only nation or only country who has adapted Sea Learning officially, where the Minister of Education has passed a resolution that this curriculum needs to be in every school across Mongolia. So our foundation mainly focuses on 5 things. First and foremost, of course, Sea Learning Mongolia. Now that is a separate NGO. We have it registered as Sea Learning Mongolia. We have our executive director of Sea Learning Mongolia here with us today, Mrs. Arunzaya. Please stand up. She's been working very, very hard for the last 3.5 years as an executive director for the implementation of the Sea Learning curriculum, and she's doing a wonderful job. And on behalf of everybody here, I want to personally thank you and your hard work and dedication towards this project or movement, as we might want to call it. Number 2 is we are providing CBCT training. In 2023, we had the honor of inviting Gishinege, Tsundu, Ryan members from here to come to Mongolia, and we were very fortunate to sign a official MOU with University of Emory University and launched CBCT in Mongolia. The third thing that we do is, because of our logo, our slogan is educating the mind and body. One of the things that we're doing is we're working very closely with Johns Hopkins University because they have a program about eradicating tuberculosis around the world. So we've been very fortunate to join their team and join their forces in eradicating tuberculosis across Mongolia. Number 3 is we focus on translation of books authored by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. We focus not on the Buddhist books, but we focus on the books that are related to secular ethics, universe in a single atom, beyond religion. And the very first book that translated into Mongolian, where our foundation, is Force for Good. Dr. Daniel Goleman just found out, maybe like literally 15 minutes ago, that we translated this. And one of the things that he doesn't know is that he's so popular. He's a star in Mongolia. So I want to take this opportunity to officially invite Dr. Goleman to Mongolia. And I truly hope that you will have a compassionate heart to visit us. This is the power of compassion, right? Right? I truly hope that you will find the time and energy to not join us online, Zoom, because I don't believe in that stuff so much. We want to definitely try to bring you to Mongolia physically because, you are a star. And also what we do is we do transformative journeys, which is kind of like what we call inner world journey. There's so many, every human being goes through this. Who am I? What am I? What I want to do? Who I want to be? Where am I going? What direction I'm going? So we lead groups on trips to Dharamsala, to Nepal, to Bhutan, so people are able to find themselves, basically. So I think I think Dr. Sonia also mentioned about the ripples of compassion. That's exactly what it is. The ripples of compassion can shift the world around us into more compassionate place. Since CBCT was introduced, these are the numbers. We have done 78 trainings, total of 822 hours, and total number of participants, over 1,000. These are the numbers. Also, the sectors that we did: public, private companies, the banking sector or finance, healthcare workers, law enforcement, and schools. Now, if you look at the chart at the very bottom, it says 70% free, 30% paid. How do we do that? Right? We're not funded. We don't get grants. We're trying to become self-sustainable. So what happens is every major incorporation is obligated to what they call social responsibility. So what we do is we approach these companies and say, hey, we have this wonderful training for your workers. We want to provide it. So there we say, what is our benefit? Well, it's not only CBCT, but also you're socially responsible to do something good. So we will give those training to the public, to the law enforcement, and the health workers. That is your benefit. They need a tax write-off. They need to, boast about they doing something good in society. And that's how we do it. So that's why we did 70% of the training that we provided to the private companies, mainly from the last 3, healthcare, law enforcement, and schools. Those were all provided free. So this is just a very generic introduction of what we did since the implementation of CBCT in Mongolia. Now, this is a study that was done by one of our CBCT teachers. She has 2 PhDs. We'll go to her in the next page. She conducted a survey, and it says those who have taken CBCT, the course, and versus the non-CBCT students, what are the findings? Lower levels of personal distress and negative emotion, greater confidence in their ability to rely on others. If you look at the very bottom one, don't ask me about that because that's a very scientific number. I don't know any of those. But those are the numbers that she threw at me and said, put it on the chart. One of the major benefits that we worked is we got a very small grant from the Canadian Embassy, right? So we had to use that somewhere, and we collaborated with the Addictology Behavior Therapy of Mongolia. We provided training for their nurses, their staff, and also they are responsible for curing people, right? They can't just give antidepressant and pills to everybody. So they have to do something. They have to find a different method. And this is where CBCT came into the picture, and it's been working out very good. Of course, we haven't provided that much training to them, but we will definitely continue to collaborate and work with them in the future. So I want to also take that opportunity here today. We have a very small delegation from Mongolia. We have our former project director, and currently she's still the CBCT teacher. Oyon Drak, please stand up. She was also responsible for bringing Emory and their team to Mongolia and making a launch event, and she continues to be part of our teaching group of CBCT. We have our new project director, which is Zolzaya here. She just started. Yeah, please, come on, stand up. Yeah, it's all right. She's been a C learning facilitator for the last 2.5 years. She's very much involved in the C learning implementation, facilitating, and also she came on board to lead CBCT in the future. Also, we have Susie. I call her Susie, but anyway, Oyunga. She is also our she is also a C learning facilitator and a CBCT certified teacher. So thank you all for being here. Lastly, transformative personal transformation. The lady that you see here in the picture in the glasses, right? She's the one with 2 PhDs. She had a trauma at a very young age. Mongolian love horses. So she went horse riding. She fell off the horse, injured her leg. Later on, it developed into some kind of an infection. At a later stage, it turned cancerous, and her leg had to be amputated. So imagine as a teenager, having to walk around, how traumatic that is for a child, right? To be picked on, to be bullied, to be, teased, and, there was a lot of issues and so she really worked very hard in her personal life to go beyond. That's why she got 2 PhDs, because she was seeking happiness. She was seeking comfort, right? She was seeking self-esteem. She was seeking self-faith. None of those gave that to her until CBCT came into her life. And this is what she says: as someone who grew up with difficult circumstances, just as I briefly told you, CBCT has become an invaluable tool in my life. It has given me resilience, forgiveness, compassion, helping me find strength to move forward. I do not share CBCT as a teacher, but as a survivor, using my personal story to inspire and encourage my students. She's also teaching it too at the university. Teaching CBCT to students allowed us to witness their positive changes firsthand, celebrate their progress together, which was truly special experience. One thing, the day that I gave her certification of CBCT, she won the elections to be a parliament member of Mongolia. So this tells you about the impact, right? Of individual, how somebody who had an injury at a young age wanted to succeed, went out and got 2 PhDs. She established a foundation, still, helping others, humanitarian work, charity that she was doing, it still was not giving her joy or happiness, right? And, she was involved in many marathons. She ran marathons. Still, that didn't give her so much joy or happiness. So I think these are the stories that will definitely impact all of us. And I thank you all for your time.